You know, I've been sizing up guys since I came to WCW.
You know, I've always been a jam-up guy.
We're back, baby. It's the Jam Up Guys. I'm here with Cody, Tall Rick, and Cameron. And today we're going to be talking about a match Cameron hasn't seen yet, and it's AEW Blood and Guts live on Wednesday night. That was last Wednesday we're talking about, not like this coming Wednesday. We're not psychic yet.
It already happened.
Yeah, it already happened. So we're going to talk about the match, and we're going to try to sell them on it, or not, depending on our opinions and
well, see, that means I have to pay attention now.
spoiler alert, I fucking hated it. Anyway, we're going to throw to someone else first. Tall Rick.
Dude, it's across the panel. Well, I can't really speak for Tall Rick, but
I didn't hate it. It was better than the first two by a long shot. I mean, at least there was like planned spots where people weren't like standing around for 45 minutes waiting to catch somebody. It kind of flowed. Everybody kind of knew what they were supposed to do. Especially since, like, I mean, spoiler cam, Pac walks out. I don't know how you do that in a like War Games-esque match, and your team
pulled out bolt cutters.
Wait,
pulled out bolt cutters.
No. I'm saying like it's over when somebody on your team submits or gives up. Like he gave up, he left. They should have lost right there.
Right.
oh, we'll get there.
But yeah, but other than that, it was like. If you liked old Attitude Era spots with like furniture being broken and people being bent over half over stuff, it tickled those fancies.
Fancies were tickled.
Yes.
I thought y'all were trying to sell me on this. Like, so far,
no.
both Ricks are just like, don't buy it.
Oh no, sir. No, we're gonna give
No,
you.
you have to.
Well,
Okay, it's like a schlock movie. You have to see it for the spectacle of it. Like, it's not whether it's good or bad. You just got to see this thing.
Good guy Cody with the save.
Yeah.
He's really the best of us.
That's true. See,
I don't know about all that.
I would have said it's more like a French movie where all the wrong people take their clothes off. All the wrong people did the big spots.
Right.
Whereas you had other people who could be doing the big spots, but there were so many big spots, it was just like uncomfortable French nudity.
Dude, and there were spots that like didn't
Specifically.
exist. They were like, they set up spots that like never came to fruition.
Right.
So check this out, Cam. So at one point, the one thing that sold me on it, I wasn't going to watch it at all. I'm not a Young Bucks fan. I love AEW, but I get frustrated watching the Young Bucks. You know, I get frustrated. I know Kenny Omega is amazing in like Iron Man matches and matches by himself, but he frustrates the shit out of me. Like all three of them do, because and Captain you know, Hangman Adam Page.
Butterfly Cowboy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I really like to be here. When I want to be here, I got butterflies. Sorry. But they all have like little pet peeves that just drive me insane. But man, they built up, but it kind of got me when they had two rings. They had two rings pushed together, made it this gigantic ring. So I was like, oh, hey, that's pretty interesting. I've never seen that before. You know, I haven't really seen like a lot of New Japan or like anything like that, or like GCW or anything that they would do like these big spectacle hardcore matches. And with a giant cage. And it's beaten into my head that the second you leave the cage, you win. You know, but guys were like leaving the cage and then coming back and then leaving the cage and coming back. Then at one point they needed bolt cutters to get out of the cage, even though like 4 or 5 guys had like left to go to the bathroom and come back. You know, but they needed the pliers, or like the big bolt cutters rather. And at one point, Matt Jackson crawls up on top of the cage. Wheeler Yuta, he comes right up after him. They get up on this gigantic structure. Everyone's wondering what's going to happen. He takes 3 suplexes and they come back down.
He did suplex him 3 times.
Sold. I have to see this now.
No, you really don't. Picture this. Here, I'm gonna less than sell you this. Picture if fucking War Games, like the match Beyond. Picture that, and like a fucking like, God damn it! Picture that and the Ultimate Warrior in 1999 went into that thing from The Fly and came out. That's what this match was. It sucked on so many fucking levels. I can't even put it into words. Jesus Christ, they broke every fucking new rule in the Breakdown Edict. They looked like fucking complete idiots.
All of them.
Bloda Ibushi was terrible.
Dude, the winner of the worst guy, if that match got a Razzie, Kota Ibushi would be the one getting the Razzie because he was the worst of it.
The fucking fakest punches I've seen in fucking probably like a decade. It was awful. And
one punches like a hopped up 6-year-old Power Ranger fan.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was a Power Rangers episode with blood.
And Kota Ibushi, man, I don't know. I last time I saw him, he was a badass, but like this is like, it's like just some guy fell asleep in the back and then just woke up and wandered out to the ring.
He came out like his mom cut his hair in 1985. He looked fucking just lost in the whole thing. And
like he couldn't get synced up with Kenny at one point. No. Like they set up to do like a V trigger and he just does this like hi-ya kind of kick.
It was a bad look. It was just a bad match. Like I fucking Claudio is the Ring of Honor champion, and he's out there fucking, taking all these bumps from the Jacksons. Like, I'm sorry, the Jacksons, but that's the Ring of Honor champion.
Right.
Like, you should not be knocking him around as fucking tag team wrestlers who are undersized by industry standards. Like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Of course. Go ahead.
You go ahead. I've been talking.
So like these rules are put into place so like the producers can approve them, right? But like
they made up all these rules. Well, they didn't make them up, but they set up these new ground rules, right? That everyone talked about it. Is AEW did to it was basically all these standards and practices kind of thing to like protect their wrestlers and protect them from lawsuits and everything. So go ahead, talk.
But I'm saying like they set them up, then you have to get like producer approval. But like who produced this match? Like who approved having all of these guys doing all of these spots in an hour? Like they didn't need all of it. And then like the guys that you really wish would have done the big spots, like fucking Pac was in the match. Like how awesome would that be to see him do like a fucking like red arrow off of the top of the cage onto a guy who's on a table 20 feet below, but he gets like accidentally bumped twice and he's just like, I'm out. See ya. Deuces.
Yeah. So at one point, Cam so Pac's in there and he's actually one of my favorite wrestlers. Like he comes off legit to me. And I think he's been kind of done dirty in AEW. Like I'd like to see him in more prominent positions. That's just my personal opinion. But at one point, he just starts getting into it with Claudio, and then he's just like, you know what? Screw you guys, I'm going home. And he just like, he literally just like
walks.
Yeah, takes his. If there was a ball, he would have picked it up, but he took his ball and went home, and he was just out.
And the match still went on. Like that is like where I like started to draw the line with it, because like dude gave up. Like, that should have ended the match.
When you could tell it really didn't have the effect they wanted because nobody knew what was going on. It was too... I think that one was too real and, like, too close to the chest. Because you do something real in the midst of all this, like, this clown show, and then you try to do this, like, real-world story where Puck is like, you know what, I'm out of here. Everyone started, like, it derailed the whole thing. Like, all the fans were like, you could see them all, like, whispering to each other, like, what is this supposed to...
Kind of like when Jeff Hardy went out through the crowd at one time in WWE, and everybody was confused.
Right.
Yeah, very much so.
But, like, when a match gets so derailed that Jon Moxley completely gets overlooked, like, it's that bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Moxley actually somehow pieced this piece of shit together and actually made it salvageable up
Right.
until the post-camera angle.
Oh
Right.
yeah, and they were all, they were just all sitting at a table, pitching their different, and then I'll do this, then I'll do this, then we'll climb up the cage, then I'll get the bolt cutters and I'll bail, and it'll confuse everyone, and I'll have a bed of nails, and do what with it? And I'll have a bed of nails.
Like the only thing I
Okay.
really enjoyed about the match is the fact that they like shook hands when it was over, signaling the end of the fucking storyline.
Yeah,
Every other Blood and Guts is supposed to be these like blood feuds that come to an end. And the first one didn't come to an end, it didn't end anything. The second one didn't end anything. This one, however, looks like it ended that fucking storyline finally.
I hope so.
I hope so too. But where do they go now?
Well,
It
and
just-
then
It just means that they can infect other people with their bullshit.
Right.
I liked when they were all self-contained.
yeah. But see, the last thing I'll really gripe about is, there's tacks everywhere. There's tacks and like, not candy glass. It's real broken glass. I swear to God.
Sure, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's all this stuff, and then after the match, Kota Ibushi decides to spill out some tacks, walk over, and just took a back bump, not from anybody.
Oh, on his own.
So he just slaps his back down in there, and then hops up and is like, "Ta-da!" So screw everybody that's ever sold the tack bump.
Yep.
All that matters is like, hey, that's like, he might as well have just like set up a table and did an elbow drop through it, landed on his head and hopped up and been like, see, doesn't hurt at all.
And like I don't know if he was going for a reaction, but the crowd was just like completely mild after it happened.
He was going for something because it was just kind of like they saw him. All he had to do, I said this actually today online, like in the midst of all this silliness, if he would have just done a scoop slam, it probably would have gotten over. It'd be like, yeah, Kota Ibushi still got it. Or if he just ran the ropes and like hit him with like a big boot, it'd be like, yeah, Kota Ibushi. No, he looked the worst of all of them because he couldn't punch,
It
he
was
couldn't
bad.
kick. He fell over a couple times.
He fell a couple times.
Yes.
Like, and there's nothing, honestly, like, I don't even laugh when, like, I laughed when Kane fell. That was hilarious. But, like, when he fell, it was just kind of like, oh, man, what are you doing?
Yeah. It was like you're embarrassed for them.
Yeah, it was rough.
Even though, I mean, like, Kota Ibushi is a great athlete, but he looked like fuck. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people complain. They're like, oh, well, you step in the ring, you do this, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not fucking Kota Ibushi.
Yeah.
But listen, bro, like, if I go to a fucking restaurant, I don't need to be a professional chef to know when something tastes like shit.
Yeah.
I can see when something looks like fucking shit, and Kota Ibushi looked like fucking shit in this match. It was awful. It was a bad match with a lot of disappointing performances and a lot of folks who deserve better than this garbage bullshit.
Mhm.
And yet somehow I still enjoyed watching the match when it happened. Like,
Oh, I didn't. I was
Like I said, it's a spectacle to behold. You just have to see it.
yeah, it's definitely just like and the thing I think I enjoyed the most is like, normally when like a dude sets up a table, like, somebody's going to go through that table at some point, so you're like waiting for it. In this match, none of that mattered. It was just like, I'll set up a spot, and then nobody touched it for like an hour.
Yeah.
It was it was unpredictable at a minimum.
It was very unpredictable.
Well, I would
That's a
say
good way
that's
to
a
put
bit
it.
refreshing compared to when they set up and it's like, oh, well, they're going to do something with that later. So
Right. Like I think that was like what I found the most enjoyable was like I legit didn't know what spot they were doing next.
Yeah. So yeah, like why I was saying like I get annoyed and frustrated with Kenny Omega sometimes is one of the things that always frustrates me is like we all it's a dance, it's predetermined. I hate it when like the opponent has to sell forever. Because the longer they have to sell, it goes from like the person hit you with something that rocked you to, man, he's really rocked. Is he okay? To, all right, this is just getting ludicrous. There's no way you're that hurt. So I really get frustrated when I watch AEW and I see like 5 or 6 tope suicidas. Like everyone does one, and like say there's 5 matches. Every single match you see a tope suicida, but when Kenny does it, he's got to stop. He's got to do the Terminator thing, and then he's got to run. He's got to hit the ropes at least twice, but like both sides twice. And to hit a move that we've seen 4 or 5 times that night, but you have to sell longer out there, standing out there, and your stock, to me, and this is just maybe anxiety brain going, but your stock is just slowly dropping because you got to sit there and sell, and you got to, and you end up looking kind of stupid, like because
You
you're
look
just
like an
sitting there.
asshole.
Yeah, you look like you're just waiting there for some guy to run and jump on your face, and that's really what it is. So, like, and I have the same issue when like Tariq is talking about, like when when they just stop the match, like when like he just hits him with something really hard, and then he just goes over and sets up his little obstacle course, like his little project. He like sets up a table, and it's like his opponent just has to like lay there in the ring, like, oh god, oh I'm in so much pain. You done yet?
Oh, I can't believe
I'm
you're
so
setting
glad.
up all these elaborate traps for me to
Yeah.
go through.
Doesn't he know my
yeah.
knee is already done?
Oh, I've already had such a bad day. Like,
Yeah. It's after. I mean, you can only, even in Mortal Kombat, they'll only spin for a little bit before before they
Right.
just flop down.
Until the finish him animation.
It's not even WWE 2K rules. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, come on. Like, I can get to my senses faster than that shit.
Right.
Like, that wouldn't matter if not everyone was doing it, but everyone's fucking doing it.
Right.
But with this guy in particular, you just know inherently, like,
There's a big setup.
He's got this whole to do before he can jump outside, and I have to catch it.
Here's the thing: that frustration didn't start with Kenny Omega for me. That frustration started with Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan used to do that '80s thing where he couldn't just punch a dude in the face. He had to like look at the crowd, look around, do the pump thing with his fist, look all around, and his opponent is just sitting there, just counting stars. But it's Hogan, so yeah, you just you count your blessings that I'm even in here with you.
So, sidebar to what annoyed me on the night. The fact that there was one women's match the entire evening, and it was a Britt Baker squash match that took like 3 minutes and 30 some odd seconds from like opening intro to final bell.
We got stuff to do, Rick. Come on, let's go. Let's go with the women's match. We got to go.
Right, but one women's match.
That's
like,
how it felt.
Kenny does this all the time. There's like one women's match. That's it. Like the whole thing was like, oh, Jamie Hayter got injured, so we can't have a Blood and Guts women's match. So we'll give them Britt Baker versus some up and comer that barely anybody knows.
Yeah. And it just cracked me up, like the reasoning behind that, how they're like, well, we didn't want people to complain that we don't give, have women, that it's just a completely exclusive men's match. And it's just like, that's where you draw the line, really?
Yeah.
That, like, right there. Like, you can't have people complaining about this.
I mean, there was a dance contest, and it was fucking awful. I don't give a shit about the women's match. That
Man.
dance contest,
I honestly didn't mind
embarrassing. Embarrassing.
So we were actually talking about the dance number, and was it you, Tall Rick, that like kind of said that it was pretty spot on, like Attitude Era type stuff?
No, that was like direct out of like Two Cole's playbook, where they're trying to get somebody over.
Yeah.
Like they're getting over Adam Cole because he can't dance like the other three. So they're setting him apart and they're getting him over more.
But it's Adam Cole and the
Yeah.
fucking heel world champion.
Right, but what else has Adam Cole done?
I'm not saying he hasn't. He's
In
done
AEW.
other shit in AEW.
The reason
In AEW.
over right now?
Honor and all over the other place. Like,
But the reason Adam Cole's over right now in AEW is because he's doing comedy spots with MJF. They're hanging out, playing video games, buying each other matching T-shirts. I mean, that's why they're getting him over. I mean, if
They are mega over right now.
right, if him doing a 45-second dance spot sells more seats later down the line for when one of the other one turns on him, I'm all for it. Like that's actual storytelling. It's directly taken from Vince's playbook on how to do it. So
I understand, but this is also why I like Collision, and I fucking hate
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I completely agree. Like if it happened on Collision, I'd be through the roof about it. But it happened on Dynamite, where weird shit happens anyway.
Yeah,
That's true. Dynamite is just a hodgepodge of it's
Right,
like,
Orange Cassidy pulled out a chainsaw to try to kill Wardlow with it at one point. Well,
Exhibit A.
a dance contest isn't that bad.
we need to do an entire episode on that spot.
We do.
I don't think enough people
Nobody ever references that there was a chainsaw under the ring. The face gets it to kill the heel, and the heel still wins that match.
He did try to murder Wardlow
Right.
with a chainsaw on live national television.
Yes.
There's just some foreign objects you just can't pull and like it get over. Like the second he comes out with the chainsaw, you're just like, what are you gonna do with that?
Oh, he's
Right.
gonna murder him. He's gonna cut him in half.
Yeah. Are we all just gonna bear witness to you just chopping this giant man in half?
Yeah, that's it. He's just gonna murder Wardlow in the middle of the fucking ring, and that's what we're left to believe.
He's gonna chop him up, and then Mox is gonna go and like punch the meat hanging.
Moxley just
Just
hangs
like Rocky.
his body over the ring and shakes it. He's
Yeah.
like, bloodbath.
That was the best part in Rocky 3 when Rocky comes out and gets clever with the chainsaw, right?
That's true. That was the best part.
Yeah.
Rocky really fucked his day up. It was terrible. But anyway, we've digressed. And so that's it for this
big
episode
time.
of the Jam Up Guys. Cameron, before we go, did we convince you to watch the Blood and Guts match or run away from the Blood and Guts match?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I said that I was gonna watch it like 3 minutes in, and then like you all told me not to. So no.
Well, fuck. Mission accomplished.
Feel the power, feel the power of love. Feel the power of love. Feel the power of love.